Good evening, folks. It's Paul Anderson here, Wednesday night. So I'm going to work through a few fiddle tunes. The first is going to be one of my own. This is a tune called Lament for Bill Reid, VC. And then I'm going to play three tunes of the Highlands and Islands that are found in Captain Simon Fraser's melodies, airs and melodies peculiar to the Highlands and the Islands of Scotland. Chiefly collected in the interesting period between 1715 and 1745. So we'll work through them. They're fair collection. It's better known as the Knockie Collection, which was compiled by Captain Simon Fraser. But there's some of his compositions in that collection, but it's mainly stuff that was actually his father and his uncle collected. They were graziers and cattle dealers in the Highlands, and most of this stuff would have been collected around a campfire on an evening, picked up for drovers, etc. Quite a few are song melodies, but given the period that the collection was printed, it was still seen as being maybe a little bit potentially dangerous to publish the Gaelic words. So we've got the tunes, which is better than nothing anyway. But I'm going to start with my own tune. It's called The Lament for Bill Reid, VC. Bill was he was a Lancaster pilot during the Second World War, and in fact I should get the book and read it out. This is out of my own collection, the Knockie Collection, and there we go. So if I go and find this, I'll read exactly what I've got written here, page 15. Yep. So Bill, who was from Glasgow, was a Lancaster bomber pilot in World War II. He was awarded the Victoria Cross for his part in a raid on Germany in which several of his crew were killed and he was severely wounded. Without navigation equipment, he managed to drop his bombs on target and return to Britain. After recovering from his wounds, he became a farm manager at the Doonside Estate, just outside Tarland, and that's where he met my family actually. He was like the farm manager. And Lady McRobert, who was still alive at the time, was very fond of him. And so I think, well, I heard a story that he was offered the estate because her family had all died. The three sons that were left were killed, one in a flying accident before the Second World War, and the other two were both pilots that were shot down during the Second World War. And she was actually prepared to leave him the estate, so I heard. But he would have had to change his name to McRobert, and Bill thought it would have been terribly disrespectful and upsetting for his own father to drop his own name, so he turned it down. But he was very well liked, and he was a lovely guy, Bill, and he always credited the medal should have gone to his, I think it was his navigator or radio operator, because he said that they kept him awake when he was going, because he was losing so much blood. He was attacked several times during this raid, and I think once he dropped the bombs, he was attacked again, so he was badly shot up and severely injured, and because he was losing blood, he was like to pass out. But his navigator or radio operator, I can't remember which, certainly one of those were killed, but one of them managed to keep reviving him and keeping him wakened. So anyway, a lovely guy. It was a friend of the family, so I wrote this for him. It was really my granddad's suggestion, because my granny and granddad were very fond of Bill. He eventually moved on and settled in Crieff. So it was really, my granddad was quite keen to hear a tune. He didn't prig with me to go and, well, you go and write a tune, but I thought he would probably appreciate it. So I wrote this for him, and it's written so it sits in the pipe scale quite nicely. So because it's written in the style, well, a pipe lament, or maybe even the ground for a pibroch. Certainly that was what was in my mind at the time. So I'll play it through. I was requested to do this today. I wasn't going to play it, but I thought actually that's quite a good idea. So it's got a nice story to let as well. So The Lament for Bill Reid, VC. And then, if you have never heard, the VC, the Victoria Cross, is the highest award for valour in the British Army. Well, the British military, generally. you go, just once through that just now. Haven't played that for a while. Certainly I've never heard it played on the pipes. If there's only pipers out there listening hear this, I'd be really interested to see how it sounds. I kind of think that it wouldn't sound absolutely perfectly alright, but I've certainly never heard it. So aye, so there you go. There really not too much to worry about there. I have noticed just playing through that as is, I wouldn't say often the case, but I do find things, for there's mistakes in my own book. I don't think there's a book that I've never found very few that I've nae found some mistake somewhere. And the truth can be said in my own music. There should be a natural on the G, on the D string, honey fiddlers there. I just realised when I was looking at it, it doesn't tell you that. So it would sound a wee bit different. It's played like this. It's written. And that's just a bit crap. That's nae what I was looking for. So that's something that's been overlooked. If you've got the music and you've been trying to play along, please bear that in mind. Because if you didn't, you played it as it's written, you very quickly think that's a bit of a strange way to write a tune, a bit unusual. But anyway, it shouldn't be this sharp. It should be natural. Okay, I'm going to play it again. It's very straightforward. It's not wildly expressive, but there is light and shade within that. I think one of the things try to do, I've got grace notes notated. I mean, since I wrote that, which was many years ago, my granddad was still alive, and that's about 16 years since he died. I might not necessarily notate it quite the same way for the grace notes, but they're there as a guide, so take them as a guide. Some of them work better than others, but for that type of tune, it's very definitely the kind of tune for you want to have some ornamentation, because it's written as a pipe tune, and that's one of the key things that pipes have that help add colour and interest, because they've got 9 notes and 1 volume. You kind of get louds and softs with the Highland bagpipes, but what you have got is a huge range of ornamentation that really add a huge amount to the style. So, given that I'm interpreting the pipes with this, I will definitely be adding grace notes. So I would say that if you are doing the same, just it's something to bear in mind. Crisp, clean, articulate, that's what you're looking for. They should never distract from the melody, grace notes. They should ornament, twinkle away in the background, but never get in front and encumber the tune. Certainly no played as slow that they almost become melody notes. Okay, so crisp and clean. Listen to a really good piper playing them, and they're more percussive than notes actually. They just kind of come firing in really quick. So like at the beginning there. If I play it without the grace notes. It just adds much more bagpipe feel by adding the grace notes. Okay, so let's just play it through again. There's not much to say about that. It's a fairly simple tune, but you can make that. They're sometimes the ones that are hardest to really touch folk, because it's up to the player to really colour the music, and you've got less notes to work with, and because it's quite simple, works within the 9 notes of the pipe scale. You'd think, oh well, when I have anything like the depth as other tunes, but that's shouldn't be the case. But you should make it feel like you're playing for somebody that you have lost. So most folk that are listening possibly will never have met Bill Reid, but actually, if you can put yourself in the shoes, it's somebody that you have lost, or imagine how you would feel if somebody close to you passed away. How would you feel? If you think about it for a second, you begin to maybe get your mind into the place you want to be for putting a tune like this across. Okay, so we'll play it once again, and I think that's all I need to say about this tune. So the Lament for Bill Reid, VC. so I quite liked that tune, and I played it for a long time. This is often the case. You move on to other tunes, and then you move on to other tunes, and these ones can get, that you've played a long time ago can get forgotten about. So thanks to Jane from Philadelphia, because she asked for that, because it was quite a few years ago now. I wouldn't like to hazard a guess. First time was at the Boston Harbour Fiddle Camp on Thompson Island. I think that's where it was. I worked through this with a class, and we had 3 parts. So Jane, being a cello player, was quite. She requested this so that she could play her harmonies, I think. So yep. So there you go. Lament for Bill Reid. Now I'm going to move on to some tunes for the Captain Simon Fraser's collection. Every one of the tunes in this book, I think, have a Gaelic title that has an English translation. So by that you probably have a fair sense that these are tunes for the Highlands and Islands. The full title is Airs and Melodies Peculiar to the Highlands and Islands of Scotland, chiefly collected through the interesting period of 1715 to 1745. So that puts it between the 2 main Jacobite rebellions. There was more than 2, but 1715 was quite a big one. There was one in 1719 actually. Battle of Glen Shiel, I think, took place round about this time of the year. It wasn't such a big affair, but the next in 1745 was quite we could get into a lot of history as regards that. But most of this music was collected by Captain Simon Fraser's uncle and father, who I mentioned earlier were graziers and cattle dealers in the Highlands, because it was a huge industry in Scotland. I say industry, it was a huge. In fact, there was more money on the hoof than there was money in country. I would have said in Scotland, cattle dealing and the trade was massive. There was drove roads all over Scotland that led down to the big cattle trysts at Crieff. Originally would have been the biggest in Falkirk, became even bigger, and it's known that there's been as much as up to 200,000 cattle at the sales at one time. They would frequently move on down into England, but certainly they would have been going to the big centres of population. So it was a big deal, the cattle trade in Scotland, and it was only really killed off, and things like the railways come in and made it much easier and quicker to ship your beasts that way. So I'm going to play some tunes, starting with a Strathspey. This is called Glengarry, and the MacDonalds, name MacDonald, but the MacDonalds, they were the chiefs at Glengarry, and they were actually well known for keeping a piper and a bard and a harper, and they were kind of renowned for keeping this side of the Highland culture alive. So this is a tune in celebration of them. This is Glengarry, and it's a Strathspey. So I'll take it fairly steady. It's a lovely tune, and then I'm going to slow it down and work through it very slowly. Okay. So just to let you get a feel of the tune. So you might think that was actually quite quick. I've got a habit of rattling through things, getting all excited and maybe playing too quick at times, but I'm certainly not going to work through it. If you're trying to play along at that speed, I'll play it even slower. So there's nothing too cheeky about the bowing. It's fairly straightforward. A lot of opportunity to hear nice strong snaps to that, and yeah, really much to say, but it's in a fine easy key. It's very accessible for the fiddle. For anybody who plays the fiddle that's looking at this, I've marked into the music quite a lot of fourth fingers, and that's because it saves crossing up onto the A string. Fourth finger on the D, it saves you jumping up the A string to play an open and then back. By using the fourth, it keeps it in one string and hopefully makes the bowing more effective, because you'd have to cross. There's often cases for that doesn't work and you have to cross, but in this case, keeping it on a one string, I feel, makes it more effective. Okay, so let's just play it through nice and steady. Doing in the G string, so really let a bit of power down there, a bit of depth. Okay, so it starts with a snap bow. Okay, so snappy. If it's a snap bow, needs to D for it says on the tin. Needs to be snappily played. This is nae snappy. That's tricky, because you have to get for the G string right up to the A, but right across the D string you've got to miss it entirely if you can. So you haven't got a lot of time to linger on that. There's me saying it's not too bad. Actually, that is a wee bit cheeky, but you'll manage fine. You'll manage fine. It's a bit of kitley, but we'll be all right. So let's go for the top. Nice and steady. 3, 4. It's a good tune. Captain Simon Fraser Collection. Now, I think they're still available. It was published in the early 1800s. I have got a copy actually, like an original, which is a great thing to have, because they are a bit like hen's teeth, just about impossible to find unless you land really lucky. Scottish fiddle music, really, if you're looking for them in antiquarian bookshops, and I go and spear and say, have you any Scottish fiddle music collections? And almost the same thing every time. Oh, we kind of keep hold of them. They just disappear really quickly. Folk are looking for them. It's quite a bit easier to find piping collections. I've found it by experience. But one of these really old Scottish collections quite difficult. But fortunately, I'm using this. And that's the reproduction that I think it's Paul Cranford. Yeah, Paul Cranford, St Paul's Island. This was 1982, this particular copy. But I think you can still get them, and it's worth having a quick look online to see if you can. If you want to get some really good, authentic Highland tunes, Highlands and Islands, for kind of a good old vintage, that is a great collection to get. And the next two tunes I'm going to play this again, but the next two are tunes that feature in the classic Ealing comedy Whiskey Galore. And there's a new film that came out just a few years ago, and I was in it. A wee cameo. I was playing at the wedding scene, and it's a long story, but they ended up dubbing over me, which I wasn't very impressed about. But anyway, that's what happened. But it was a great thing to be part of. We got Fergie MacDonald, kind of legendary band leader for the Highlands, button box player, had him along, and the music for the new film generally, that was one of the things I think it didn't work quite as well. The original film, which came out not long after the book was written, it's an old black and white Ealing comedy. Most folk probably have seen it if they're interested in Scotland at all. And the music is brilliant. And the reason that I think the music works so well is that whoever did the score for that film had obviously gotten his hands on a copy of the Airs and Melodies, Captain Simon Fraser's collection, because there are Highland tunes, so they are they all work really well, and you can hear them running like a thread right through the collection. There's the two I'm going to come to in a second, but there's things like Rob Roy McGregor, which is in this collection as well. There's the is it the fashion that the lasses have? Pipe slang. So that's in it. So I think that's why it works so well, because you've got that era authenticity about the music that are using Highland and Hebridean tunes. And at the St Kilda wedding, I think it's in it as well. So you can see they've got you had the right idea. So we'll come to that just in a second. I'm going to play through Glengarry once again, and then we'll move on to something a bit different. I've got a jig and a reel to play. So here we go. Glengarry. A wee bit quicker this time. Not up to speed, but a wee bit quicker. 3, 4. I should just say, actually, there's nothing wrong with the new Whiskey Galore film, although I was saying the original's better to my mind. The cast are great and it's well acted, and there's nothing wrong with the score either. It's very well played. I mean, you kind of fault the playing on it, but I think it's mainly on the whole, it's all new music. It was written for it, so and to me it just didn't quite work as well. But anyway, let's go on. If it's the next tune, 211. Oh no, 69. 69. Right, here we go. Here's the next thing. So This is the darling of the Uist lasses, and you definitely, if anybody who's watching it just has seen the original Whiskey Galore, this tune will sound very familiar. It's a reel, and apparently it was a tune that whoever was singing the melody would take a slightly different personalised way of doing it. But it's a lovely tune, and it was written about the son of one of the lairds or chiefs up there who was coming home, and apparently he was much admired by the young ladies of the district, and whether it was good looks or great personality, it doesn't really say, but it certainly says that he was celebrated on his return to the Uists. So the darling of the Uist lasses. So I'll just play it through nice and steady, but kind of at a dancing speed. So there you go. It's a good tune. You didn't really hear it very much, or certainly I didn't. That sounds terrible. If somebody's going about playing that at every gig, and it's just because I haven't heard them playing it. But I've not heard a lot of folk playing it, certainly in my hearing. But it's a cracking old tune. But if you ken the film, you'll probably, oh yeah, I recognise that melody. So, no much to worry about that. It's in D, so it's a fine, accessible key. We'll just take it nice and steady. There's a few triplets here to watch, and you could play them as slurred. I prefer them separate because it's a wee bit punchier. Matter of taste, I just prefer it. I think it sounds better. It's a wee bit harder to do it with the separate bows. The bow and the notes on the finger need to be absolutely bang on together. If one's in front or behind, I suppose, it's going to sound mushy and no great. So if you are finding that difficult, just slur them. This is just how I play it. Second half, 4 fingers, no escaping it. 4 fingers on the E string, so you've nowhere to go. You've got another string you can sneak onto. You've got to play a 4th. So just make sure that you're in pitch. That's one of the things that folk often find. Well, certainly with pupils over the years, it's often littler hands on a bigger fiddle. When you move up, and it's a bit of a stretch. But if you keep your hand up nice and straight, that pulls the 4th finger back. Kind of you let it in there. But if you keep your hand up, it gives you that bit extra stretch. And you want it to be pressed down firmly, like on any of these notes. You get a nice strong solid core to your sound, because if you don't press firmly, you can actually be slightly flat even though you're in the right place, because that's me just letting the weight on and off with my finger, so you can be in the right place. I didn't move my finger in either direction, I just was pressing on and off. You get the pitch moving back and forth. Okay, let's go through this nice and steady. I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it a couple of times. 3rd time I'm going to pick it up, and then pick it up on the 4th time, and then we'll move on to the last tune. Okay, 1, 2, 3. slow it down. Okay. There you go, the darling of the US glasses. I do put in a few slurs through the second half. Things like you would put in a barrel pretty much after a slur often after a barrel, but in this case I'm really doing it just to add a bit of variety into the bow, and you could pretty much play the whole second half without much in the way of slurs, but I find it just allows a bit more fluency. You could just go like the first part of it. Okay, so there's different ways you can bow it that work perfectly well. For me, it's just about just adding a little bit of variety. It gives a slightly different feel depending how you bow it, and for me, it certainly allows you to draw the bow out a little more, give a wee bit of fluency to the tune. So there you go. We'll leave that. The darling of the US lasses. We'll leave him to the lasses up there, and let's finish off with 211. This is a tune called None Left But Wife and Bairn. Just about there. Sorry about that, folks. If I hadn't got the music, I'm inclined to just go on my own and not necessarily play for everybody else's. So I try to keep it that I'm playing to the same as the copy that I posted earlier. Right. Hello. I hope you're back. Somebody tried to phone me via Facebook, a video call, so I had to cut them off. Sorry there, I am here if you're there. Hello, welcome back. On to the last tune now. This is called None Left at Home But Wife and Bairn. And like all the other tunes, these are all Highland tunes. And this relates actually to the 1745 Jacobite uprising. And it relates to the fact that there was so many of the men answered the call, and it is to be said, I quite often hear that everybody was driven out of their homes by their chiefs. In some cases that is definitely the case. Some were definitely threatened, but a lot of the young men, I mean, it was part of their kind of the culture and upbringing. They all wanted to go and a raid. A very different figure being in a typical army for you serve your time, but they would expect to go in a raid, tuck their spoils and go home. So a long campaign really didn't suit a Highland army, but part of this gun raid and cattle raids were a big way for young men to prove themselves. A lot of the young men, it was part of their history that were brought up with. The poems at Ossian was really a blueprint at how you were expected to behave. So there was a lot of the men were quite keen to get away, but definitely there was still a lot of cases of men being threatened with their houses being burnt down over their heads and their wives and children being cast out. So a bit of a variety there, but certainly this is to do with that, and the fact that in a lot of glens there was nae young men of fighting age that were left. You found with a women and children. So again, this is a melody that's found in the film Whiskey Galore. Okay, so certainly in this collection, it gives the tempo as being moderate, so it's suggesting it shouldn't be hell for leather, but a nice easy going swinging speed. Funnily enough, I was mentioning about there was definitely folk that were threatened with eviction if they didn't join the rebellion. Shona was looking at a book online last night. She was telling me about it the day, which is partly why I picked this tune. It was about the Jacobites for the northeast of Scotland, and there was a lot in Aberdeenshire, surprisingly. Folk tend to think more of a West Highland kind of thing, but there was a lot in the northeast of Scotland, and certainly in this area, which was owned by the Fachersons, and they were staunch Jacobites. Although the chief of the Fachersons up at Invercall, he didn't come out, but his son did. He raised the Minoltry regiment for the Jacobites, and there was a lot of men round about here. But it says that if you go just out to Cushney, next out a hill, you're into Cushney, it mentions that there was one of the Grants up there was threatened with eviction by the Earl of Mar. Now this was 1715, so it tells you exactly if it happened, and that happened quite a few times. The Earl of Mar seemed to be quite guilty of that. Bob and John was his nickname, because he changed his side if it ever suited him. So anyway, that's getting into history. Let's go back to this. Take it nice and steady. None left at home but wife and bairn. 2, 3. apart from my own tune, the Lament for Bill Reid VC, pretty much just rattled through one or two tunes for the Captain Simon Fraser collection, the Knockie Collection, to get its better Kent title, because that's where Captain Simon Fraser comfy. Knockie in the Highlands. It was said of Captain Simon Fraser that nobody spoke Gaelic so beautifully on the fiddle as Captain Simon Fraser, and that was a quote from somebody who heard him playing. And the captain come for the fact that at the time it was at the height of the kind of Napoleonic bit of history for there was great fear and worry that Napoleon was going to invade the British Isles. And so militias were raised all over the countryside for Britain, Scotland, down to England, Wales, Ireland. And but you found that the aristocracy or the gentry were usually the guys that would be at the leading edge of that. So the local laird would get eyes estate folk to join up, and he'd be the captain. So so there you go, Captain Simon Fraser. That's where he gets it. It was partly because he was in the militia. So thanks for looking in. I hope you've enjoyed the tunes. There's a lot of tunes in this collection that I could have gone with. I've picked ones that I'm not so familiar with, because it's quite nice to keep yourself mentally active and stretch yourself a little bit. But I hope you've enjoyed the music. I'll be back next Wednesday with something. I may go back to playing some Neil Gow tunes on Neil Gow's fiddle next week. That would be an idea. That's just popped into my head. If I do ramble, it's because I've got no script. I'm just marking it up as I go along. But certainly we'll be here next Wednesday with a workshop, and on Friday we're live for the lounge with Shona, and it'll be 8 PM UK time. Rattle through some nonsense and some music and some singing. Possibly if you haven't seen me since last week, you think, God, he's gone off a thin on top. Yeah, I shaved my head again, got rid of the mohawk, and it's a bit easier kept. So we'll see you on Friday possibly. If no, we'll see you maybe next week. But thanks for coming along. If you're interested in bunging some in the tip jar, it's paypal.me/Paul Anderson Shona Dawn. We'll see you later, folks. All the best.